Well, another morning and more movement and litigation against Illinois' gun ban. Good morning, I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. It's another morning where we've got a lot of developments that we've got to get to, including what we saw from over the weekend, Illinois State Police saying that the guns purchased during the week of the injunction are illegal. And we'll talk about this with some detail when it comes to what exactly state police are saying here. But all of it, of course, with the background of the Southern District implementing an injunction against the state's gun ban late last month. That only lasted 6 days. And in that 6-day window, a lot of people went out to gun stores to purchase firearms. And that included stores across the state. One told us that they sold 400 to 500 guns, if not more. And then I asked state police for a statement on the status of those individuals and those firearms. And they told me that persons who possess a banned firearm or attachment, they're required to endorse an affidavit by January 1st stating that any banned firearm or firearm attachment was possessed prior to the enactment of the Protect Illinois Communities Act on January 1st, 2023. So that's, of course, the latest statement we got from Illinois State Police. And when I asked for some kind of update on what that means for the individuals who had a temporary restraining order, they didn't immediately respond, but then they eventually did. And they just pointed back to the documents that they have on their frequently asked question, where they talk about the Macon County judgment, and any TROs entered into any actions are only applicable to specific plaintiffs and defendants in those actions, and that more information will be forthcoming as additional rulings transpire throughout state and federal courts and when the Illinois Supreme Court takes up this matter. We will be delving into some of the other cases that there are, including up to the U.S. Supreme Court, where the state and Naperville filed some filings. But to this issue of the Illinois State Police and the statement they made about the firearms and whether or not those that were purchased during the injunction week are legal or not, I reached out to Thomas Maag. He is an attorney who had filed the first lawsuit against the state's gun and magazine ban out of Crawford County, and he filed a case in state court. It was transferred to federal court, and he was challenging the law on two provisions. One, the Second Amendment, saying that banning commonly owned firearms is a violation under the Second Amendment, but Mag also challenged the law on the Fifth Amendment grounds, which is the right against self-incrimination, arguing that if you have to file an affidavit with the government that you own a firearm that the government deems an assault weapon and banned, you're essentially being forced here to self-incriminate, according to the argument. So I talked with Thomas Maag yesterday, and here's some of what he had to say about the overall issue when it comes to the issue of the Fifth Amendment.
Richard Maag is also on the board. That sounds to me like it is.
Again, as I remotely broadcast here, getting all kinds of kinks and bugs worked out. So here's Thomas Maag reacting to the Illinois State Police comment they provided me on late Friday.
That sounds to me like it is not in compliance with what the intent of the injunction was. I certainly understand that the Judge McGlynn's injunction has been stayed at least temporarily. Hopefully it'll be a moot point by the time January of next year comes around. But I find it very disheartening that the state police would, on one end, say you have to register your firearms, but on the other one saying you're not allowed to register them because they're illegal.
So Mag, he also kind of delved into the Fifth Amendment arguments and where those exactly are, why he believes that those are important to bring up now in the context of the Illinois State Police arguments that these firearms purchased during the week of the injunction before a stay was put on the injunction are illegal.
The Fifth Amendment argument has not been presented to the court yet. The Fifth Amendment, among other things, protects persons. It protects the right of persons not to incriminate themselves. The state police are, of course, going to, if the statute's not otherwise blocked, require people to fill out forms, presumably under oath, setting forth make, model, and serial number of certain firearms that they possess. That puts those persons at risk of the state taking that exact information and using it against the owners of those firearms to try to obtain criminal convictions against them for what have you, including but not limited persons that may have acquired firearms during this 6-day window. There's a whole host of circumstances that would result in persons who possess these firearms incriminating themselves by filling out a form and sending it to the state police, which is a criminal law enforcement agency.
So again, hearing from Thomas Maag, a conversation I had with him yesterday about the Illinois State Police statement saying that firearms that are under the guise of what lawmakers deemed assault weapons, if anybody purchased those during the 6-day window, an injunction was put on the state law, state police say that those are possessed after the enactment of the Protect Illinois Communities Act and therefore aren't legal, and you can't register those firearms. So I asked Maag about, that particular issue and when he thinks that the Fifth Amendment arguments are going to come to a head in this case.
I think that these statements from the Illinois State Police are exactly the kind of thing that shows that the Fifth Amendment arguments need to be brought to a head sooner rather than later.
Now, again, Maag, he brought forward that argument about the Fifth Amendment in the challenge that he initially filed, but that particular portion was put on hold while the various other plaintiffs in the Southern District of Illinois consolidated their cases. Again, you've got Maag being the first one to file. It was transferred from state court to federal court. You then had the Illinois State Rifle Association, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, and the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, all consolidated in the Southern District. Judge McGlynn issued that preliminary injunction that lasted 6 days. Then you had the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals issue a stay on that injunction, meaning that gun sales after that 6 days ceased. They stopped. So now that the law is back in place, state police saying that, hey, you're going to have to register your firearms, but then ultimately saying that the firearms people purchased in that 6-day window are not able to be registered because they were possessed after the enactment of the Protect Illinois Communities Act. What's that compliance rate going to be like? I asked Maag to somewhat predict that, and here's what he had to say.
I am told that Illinois once did have firearm registration, which was abolished in the 1970s, I think 1972. And as I understand it, the reason that Illinois abolished firearm registration in the 70s is they had a compliance rate in the teens. And as I understand it, other states that have required registration of semi-automatics have had registration rates of less than 25%. I think it's going to be a lot like prohibition, that there'll be lip service to it, a thriving black market, and very little actual compliance.
So Maag believes little compliance will happen if indeed the registry is enacted. That window opens October 1st, and the deadline's January 1st. If you don't register a previously possessed firearm that you still have in your possession, you could face up to a Class 2 felony, and that's obviously something that could lead to your rights being suspended and a whole host of other issues. So obviously, you've got the compliance rates being a question that's brought up in other states. Studies have shown it's been as low as 5% compliance rate. So meaning 95% of gun owners in places where there are registries, they don't comply. And that's a huge non-compliance rate, which begs the question, is that something that ultimately means the law is unenforceable? Maag, he says that they're staying busy because they've got a lot of filings all over the place that need to happen.
There is no shortage of work to do.
No shortage of work to do, Attorney Thomas Maag says. So that's what we see happening in as far as response to the ISP, the Illinois State Police, and their statements, and the gun registry arguments and the Fifth Amendment arguments. Obviously, this is something that Maag wants to see come to a head with the latest statements made by Illinois State Police. So a lot more to get to on this as the story continues to unfold. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. You can always chime in live and local at 217-629-7970. Love to hear from you on this issue and more. So again, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today you've got yourself the possibility of some showers leaving the area with a high of around 75. It's a bit foggy out there this morning, but then it'll be sunny. The low down to 53. Warming up to a high near 80 Wednesday with mostly sunny skies. And then partly cloudy come Thursday with the possibility of some showers, 82 the high. By Friday, we're looking at a high of 83 with showers. Right now, it's 55 degrees at 621 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
You hear a lot about influencers these days. Well, the personalities you hear on our radio stations have been influencing purchasing decisions at local businesses in Central Illinois long before it was a hot new marketing buzzword.
Hi, I'm Peyton Adams. I'm a cat mom. I'm engaged, so I'm in the process of getting married. I love live music. I love